Josh Shapiro went on The Breakfast Club. He is auditioning for president.
Do you think he has higher ambitions?
No.
You can tell that just the way he talks?
Well, I mean, is he still doing the Obama impression, or was he sufficiently bullied on that?
I would say he's still doing the Obama impression.
Because I haven't heard this video yet, but I did see that what the headline, which was that Josh Shapiro apparently called the questions that Charlemagne the God had about AIPAC money lazy. Let's see how he...
Better than interesting.
Yeah. Right. This is...
He's actually uninterested.
Israel compromised Mad Libs. What adjective are you going to throw at the interviewer to get out of answering the question about Israel's influence on your politics and in your political career? Because it's happening so rapidly. And these guys are already behind the ball, but
yes, they're outside the safe zone.
Right. And what's very Seth Moulton was on MSNBC last night, and he's returning his AIPAC donations and not accepting any money from AIPAC in his challenge to the right of Ed Markey, who I do think should probably step aside for a more younger progressive in that race. But still, if it's Markey versus Moulton, we know who we're supporting in this situation. Moulton is running as a I'm not old candidate. And he was asked by the MSNBC crew, like, well, what policy difference do you have from Ed Markey? And he was like, I wouldn't support Schumer for speaker. And it's like, I mean, if it were put to a vote, would Markey support that? Like, the point is just that these guys are trying to repackage these moderate centrist Democrats who have taken pro-Israel money, who have voted to fund the genocide. They are looking for new angles to get out of this. And my hope is that they can't. And exchanges like this give me hope as well.
The article in the New York Times about Democrats pulling away from AIPAC. So clearly it's having some impact on them politically if they feel like they got to...
I don't know. I mean, I think it's become a political issue. You've used it as a political issue. You've questioned federal representatives when they're on here on that. I mean, I think... If I can say this to you, not trying to offend you here, but I think it's a little bit of a shortcut and a little bit of a lazy question. I think the better question is, how do you really feel about Israel? How do you feel about a two-state solution? How do you feel about the war? How do you feel about...
All bullshit. It's not a war. Two-state solution is a fiction. What was the first thing he said? How I feel about Israel? Oh, I feel like I think ethno-supremacist states shouldn't exist. All right, there's three answers to your questions there.
And why doesn't he answer those right now?
Exactly.
Well, he likes to let people can have the discussion, let alone like you're not standing up for people who protested the genocide over the past couple of years. But now he's going to tell you how open he is to different varieties of conversation.
Charlemagne is making it a political issue. I love that he shows that he was anticipating this question. I mean, immediate defensiveness.
This is it.
To say as if this is coming out of Charlemagne, bro, the base, the people you want to win over in a primary, a national primary, over 70% of Democrats think Israel's committing genocide. Over 70% across polls. Quinnipiac, YouGov, it should be higher. 8% of Democrats support Israel in their war effort, to use his terms, from a Gallup poll that came out a few months ago. How do you think they feel now? So this is not an issue that Charlemagne or podcasters are kicking up. As Cory Booker was attacking the podcast space for daring to ask questions about, or for not talking about Africa enough. That was the way he got out of that.
I'm trying to stop all the pain in the entire world, and why don't you care about Africa?
Yeah, right. Like, no, this is the impulse by these elite Democrats to say that this is a manufactured issue, or that these podcasts are doing for clicks. Like, they're digging their own grave, because it's actually the opposite, and the listeners are going to have the same reaction.
Well, why would there be clicks?
Exactly.
Their producers are doing SEO. That's why they're talking about this stuff.
Right.
Feel about the war? How do you feel about the hostages or hungry kids or what have you?
I mean, we can answer all those questions. How do we feel about the hostages? There should have been a ceasefire and a hostage exchange, including the thousands of people held in Israeli torture prisons, the thousands of Palestinians, including many, many children. They should have been exchanged instead of any of this bombing happened that Shapiro supported.
I think demanding answers on those questions is more important than hey,
it's interesting. Like, who's doing the demanding? Demanding
Yeah.
answers, like what you're demanding answers of us. You are the one that needs to have the answers right now.
Exactly.
Like why?
Right. Well, I mean, it's the Chuck Schumer outsource the opposition to the streets, but we're not going to lead on that. Lead, encourage it, have messaging that would complement it. No. That's on you, plebeians. Your job is to vote for us every 2 years and shut the fuck up.
This is from a month ago, the forward Jacob Kornblue talking about the polling. I don't waffle or waver because of what the polling said. He also mentions that
Cool.
he first visited the Jewish state at age 16, and his position is grounded in a long history with the country. Now, I don't know how long it could be because he's only, 50 years old, and Israel's only 75. So
Can you read that
again
again to me? I want to translate that.
Yeah. I don't waffle or waver because of what polling said, he said.
Okay, so that's I don't care what
The
voters
say.
think.
Yes,
Go on.
Because I have donors that are going to offset that.
Yep.
But he first visited the Jewish state at age 16. And I would suggest that maybe you are, there's a reason that you differ with 77% of your voters. It's because maybe you're a little bit too close to this, Josh.
This
Anyway,
clip is actually aggravating me more than I thought it would. Let's keep going.
more important than, hey, what about this lobbying group or that lobbying group?
Well, what do you say to the critics who argue that U.S. foreign policy on Israel is often shaped not by national interest, but by the lobbying strength of these people?
I think that's a fair conversation to have.
Oh, thank you.
And I think it should be on any elected official at the federal level to say, hey, I'm listening to this group. But by the way, there's groups on other sides too. I'm listening to that group. But
Listening is a funny word for taking money to pay for your campaigns. Like we're just having a idea symposium.
Oh yeah.
We're listening where it's like you're taking money, blood money, Josh.
at the end of the day, we want our federal representatives to be able to sit here in this chair and answer the questions about why they voted
No, we
A, or
don't.
why they voted B, or
No,
why
we
they felt a
don't.
certain
No, we
way.
don't.
And
I'm sorry. We don't. I don't care. we want them to change their votes.
Yeah.
What is mysterious about this? I'm sorry that Charlemagne the God politicized the Holocaust that's been happening in Gaza.
Or the political contributions.
We
that you
wouldn't
take.
want to get all political about the Holocaust. The active one.
I think it's just a little lazy to say, oh, it's got to be because of that interest group. Maybe someone actually believes those views, or maybe someone feels strongly about that particular way.
Is it possible for an elected official?
I mean, it's funny, but then just do it without taking the money for your campaigns. But I fully believe that somebody like Cory Booker would support Israel, or someone like Josh Shapiro, frankly, if he was president, would support Israel, and the money that he would take would just be because they are on the same team, which is to say, the bad guys.
Official to get millions of dollars from, corporate donors or even lobbying interests and still really work for the people over those?
Yeah. Look, I mean, you've asked me a few questions on that, and clearly I know you're bothered by that. I think we're all bothered by the amount of money in
Corruption?
politics, particularly.
He
in
did it
dark
there.
money
I was
that
waiting for him
kinda
to
knows.
imply that Charlemagne was anti-Semitic. There you go. He asked me a lot of questions on that. He almost did the it's interesting, but he's learning, from Gavin Newsom jumped in a little too quickly. He learned from that. So
He's a crook. Gavin Newsom, these people, they know that what they're doing is indefensible with this money. So it's like, oh, I'm listening to a lobby. I'm listening to it. The deposit hit my campain's account. Yeah.
I honestly, what else do we need to hear from this?
Let's go a little bit more, just
Okay.
because it's horrible.
Keep going.
Clearly, I know you're bothered by that. I think we're all bothered by the amount of
Genocide?
money in politics,
Corruption?
particularly the dark
Oh,
money
not the
that
genocide.
nobody kind of knows where it's coming from. But I think, largely
Criminal.
the voters, I'll just speak to Pennsylvania, they're smart. They know who's on their side. They see it. I got voters who sometimes show up and vote for Republicans, sometimes vote for Democrats. They get it. I think that dark money can pollute it sometimes. Can
Downplaying.
crowd out the voices sometimes, but overall, I think voters are a lot smarter and they can see through that.
So, in other words, let me keep getting that money. Let me just keep taking it to support my campaign because I'm on your side, actually. Like,
The voters are smart. You are not listening to them. That's the problem.
He's calling them smart while he treats them like they're idiots.
Yeah,
Like, how can-
flattering them while you stab them in the back.
How
Nice.
can the Democratic Party address the problem of money in politics when some of the key candidates that people tip for the next presidential election are downplaying it?
What's also, I mean, putting aside the material support for the genocide, as we keep, talking about that, I know that that's at the top of everybody's mind. It should be. It's just amazing to me how he doesn't see that this is going to be an issue for him, or does see it and doesn't just choose to cut bait. Like, if you genuinely believe that the genocide is good, independent of the corrupting money, then we've got some pretty big problems with you already. It doesn't necessarily even matter where it comes from. It's the support for the genocide that's the problem.
What Shapiro represents is a post-democracy Democrat that is not really that concerned with that, because they're going to, whatever system we're moving towards, the oligarchic control of our campaigns, he's going to be someone who is going to represent the Democrats, even if it does entirely, and it already is very closely, get hollowed out by corporate interests. He doesn't care about money. He wants to downplay it because that's what gets him to this party. That's why he's at this dance.
Yep.
Through that.
When's the last time you told a donor no, even though it costs you politically?
That's happened many times in my career.
Yeah.
And I'm not
contradictory.
suggesting
Can you pause it?
anything
Not
unethical or
though.
illegal or-
Not when there's some sort of murder investigation. Did you tell the donor no then?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you tell the donor no then?
Sometimes you have to tell some donors no because you have to tell other donors yes.
Owner was trying to do anything unethical or illegal, but yeah, I've had them, sometimes say to me, well, I believe in this and that and the other thing, and I'll say, look, you know what? Keep your money. I'm happy to be your friend, but I don't believe in that, and I'm not going to do that. And again, nothing wrong or unethical or illegal, but they've got a different view on
all
things
chill.
than I do, and frankly, I'm not interested in, having their support if they're gonna look at things.
Sounds
differently on those
hypothetical.
fronts.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a problem with people taking the money. It's just that when you take the money and you're beholden to them, that's
Whatever.
All right. Well.
I have
how
a
it
problem
works,
with
though,
people
buddy.
taking pro-Israel money.
Yeah. Anyway.
Unless you take it and then completely sell Israel out, in which case I'd love it. If
That would be hilarious.
If somebody ran as like Israel, support me, I'm running against this person, and then became like
A reverse Fetterman.
yeah, reverse Fetterman did, I would support you for having taken that money.
100%. Although, can you imagine if somebody did that and they might not get
Let's
elected.
say install ring cameras.
We miss right. I know. I was about to say Mossad will not be thrilled.
Yeah.
You took all our money and then you stabbed us in the back. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
You're gonna hang yourself in your prison cell soon.
You can't attack the settlers or they'll punish the village.
Yeah. Well, good point, Brian. Good point.
Hey, look, man, there's money around here. People take the money, but it's just to listen and stuff. It's just to facilitate conversation. Okay, we're just talking over here.
Also, AIPAC money, not taking AIPAC money is not enough to rule out
Correct.
a Zionist in a primary. So people should be smart and diligent about this, because they're going to try to abandon AIPAC, but there are plenty of other vehicles to get Zionist money that still supports the underlying structure that has led to this genocide, which is the open-air prison that is Gaza, the West Bank and the settlements there, which is the ethno-supremacist project of Israel. That is what needs to end, and more candidates need to start. And I'm calling out progressives, and I wish even AOC would lead on this. She hasn't really, in terms of saying one democratic state. I'm sure she's keeping her ambitions about New York State in mind, but I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, she's playing a role of sort of letting other members of the caucus, et cetera, lead on these issues, and then sort of stamping some gains short of sort of what they're saying into permanence.
Yeah, and this is not. She's a leader on domestically on the messaging against the Republicans right now, and that's very, very welcome. But I do wish that she could extend that to the conversation about ending the apartheid and one democratic state from the river to the sea, because the Democrats are so far behind on the reality on this, and it's hurting the brand of the party, and it's kneecapping the opposition to fascism.
It's, and I mean, it's a serious injury the Democratic Party did by supporting the genocide, and that's even if you don't care about Palestinians. If you're just looking at the electoral performance of that party, supporting the genocide that everyone saw is, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to say terminal, but potentially the Democrats should act with some urgency to not make sure that that was like not something that sinks them for decades.
Yep.
But I would also point out, as people like Seth Moulton decide they're not going to take AIPAC money, or they're going to indeed return it, that they will take the same blood money from other sources, including I would point out the major one in the Democratic Party is DMFI, the Democrat Majority for Israel PAC, which has announced a new slate of 2024 general election endorsements. It was September 9th last year. But people should just keep an eye on DMFI and which candidates it supports, because it is just AIPAC. It is the exact same thing as AIPAC. They use a different vocabulary to deny the genocide and dispossession that is going on with your taxpayer monies.
They made it harder to roll off the tongue. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
DMFI, how do you even pronounce that?
Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting you would say that, Brian. Just interesting.
Yeah. And also, I think it's, what is it? Illiterate as demify?
And yeah, demonify. And I would just say, yes, it is a shortcut. It is a shortcut to find out if someone's on your side, if they support Israel or not. Sorry, it is. In 2025, frankly was one prior to that would have maybe put us onto the Fetterman trail a little bit early, because Ben Burgess wrote a Progressive Except for Palestine a thing on him, which you won't find written about Graham Plattner, for people making that comparison. But it's a shortcut, and you don't like that there's a shortcut helping regular people understand what's wrong with the corruption in our political system.
100%. And now that you mentioned Plattner, it reminds me. I saw an IM earlier, but we didn't get a chance to read it, and I can't find it fully right now. But there was somebody asking about his work for Blackwater, and they were worried that it would be a Sinema situation, in part because Sinema was a Green Party person who became obviously a very, very conservative corporatist Democrat, then independent, and then left the Senate and cashed in. Plattner addressed that in our interview with him immediately. Part of the problem is that we do not give our members of the military the skills that they need to reintegrate into society, especially if you've been in combat. And Plattner needed to make money, and he said that in our interview, that he worked in a private capacity during that time period. And I do not think that that is disqualifying, given his explanation about it at all. I guess we'll just read some IMs and get out of here. We didn't get to too much today, but we will
Played
tomorrow.
a lot of clips during Jasper.
Yep, we did. Did we? I was about to lose my fucking mind, dude.
Sam's boomer mom.
I love Sam, but oh my god,
Hold it up to
I truly love him, but he was killing me with that. Sage Sunday. MTG is unfortunately eating most Dems' lunch on Israel, and that's a fucking problem. AOC and the rest of progressives need to wake up. I mean, look.
people say that.
Yeah, go.
The bar is low. I think particularly AOC should, and they're getting there. AOC said some things about Palestine and the support over the last couple of years and the complicity of the previous Democratic administration that makes me think she's moving in that direction. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not better than Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar on Israel, Palestine, and she will never be for her entire life. So I think people do need to get a little bit of a grip on themselves.
But the messaging or the aggressive, but she's angling, she wants to run for president, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or something else. And I think Jeet made the best point about this, which is that she is doing the Trump playbook and seeing the existing vulnerabilities in the Republican Party and what some in the base, specifically younger people, are reacting to, and there's no cost to her. The one thing you can say about her is that she's free to say this because she, Bernie, and AOC are, I think, the three top small dollar fundraisers in the federal government, outside of course, the executive branch. And that has given her, she doesn't take AIPAC money, unlike the rest of the frickin' Republican Party. So I do think that's given her like a bit more freedom. But two, it's just she's angling for higher office and is trying to do what Trump did, calling out the vulnerabilities within the base to do so.
And it's a sort of man bites dog thing where Republicans get way more credit. Like, look at the thing, Dave Smith. Like, you see this in our thing too. Like, certain like right wing or libertarian people, well, they say something that we've been saying for like 20 years about Israel Palestine. Everyone's like, oh my God, look at this truth teller, because just people are used to people like us saying it. And when it comes out of the mouth of like a fascist adjacent person like Marjorie Taylor Greene, or libertarian like commodifier for the Republicans like Dave Smith, it becomes, this amazing thing to be said.
She's also a white lady, and Rashida and Ilhan are not, and they're Muslim too, so they're going to be like, of course they're outspoken.
Right.
They're going to take their criticisms for granted.
Yeah. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has literally attacked people for speaking out against Israel before.
Yep. Kowalski from Nebraska, I might do a reverse Fetterman in the context of reaching out to Monsanto the next time I run for political office, and then we're going to start hearing a lot of talk about nationalization of the seed companies.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be so funny to do that. if I had I don't know if I had like some sort of like small nest egg to spend on something, like it would definitely be running a political campaign that sort of hoovers up all the centrist money and then turns on them.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.